Well, hello, and welcome. A very unconventional style, but hey, this is PM Express, and we're coming to you live from the Best Western Hotel at the airport. Well, why am I here? The EC today, had an open forum where all media and stakeholders were invited, and the EC was putting across the strategy going ahead for the next 5 years, and also explain the idea and reasoning behind their logo. And if it's the EC, then it is a matter for you and I. And if it's a matter for you and I and the EC is involved, then there are people amongst us who understand what governance is. And so I'm sat here with Dr. Kwesi Jonah, who's no new person to this show at all, to educate us on what went on today, the purpose of it, and going forward, what you and I should play, our role as citizens. Our role as citizens. So, and it was a beautiful event, I must say. All media houses were represented, and indeed PM Express came here too, so that you guys don't miss out on what happened today. Dr. Jonah, you're welcome.
Thank you so very much, Nana.
And I am glad that I caught you, because I knew he had to run after the forum, and I said, look, PM Express, for the sake of you at home, he waited, so thank you. Doc, your first just preliminary comment on what went on today, how you saw it.
I think the strategic plan is something which is long overdue. As you know, the Electoral Commission of Ghana has not had a strategic plan for some years now. And given the number of activities the EC has to undertake between now and election 2020, a lot of activities, conducting the November 7th election, conducting this level elections 2 years after, and then another election. They need a lot of money. Every donor you go to will ask you, on what basis should I give you money? Where is your plan? And so it became very necessary for the EC to do another strategic plan, this time a 5-year one, which will at least ensure that the EC is absolutely certain the kind of transformation it wants to bring to the institution between now and the time you go for the 2020 election. So it is long overdue.
Long overdue. A quick comment on the logo, which has been a saga going up and down. What are your comments about the logo?
Before today's launch, everybody was saying the EC has gone to steal a logo from Turkey, an education institution in Turkey, and they're going to be charged with plagiarism and so on and so forth. From the way the chair of the EC explained the logo, they had to take off the coat of arms of Ghana in order to reinforce the independence of the EC. The EC is not under government. There's no need keeping the coat of arms of the Republic of Ghana over there, and then introduce their own logo. So that is what they have done. The meaning behind the new logo is very good. You see the stars pointing inward, meaning inclusiveness. Inclusiveness, with the colors of Ghana reflecting. The explanation behind the logo is so very good. I am very surprised that people were criticizing, and I'm sure those who criticized, after they have listened to the explanation the chair of the EC gave today, will probably have a change of mind.
As if you knew what my next question was going to be, Dr. Kwesi Jonah, but considering how we get excited about elections this side of the world, we are very, very excited about elections. Anytime the EC brings out a communique or there's a rumor or a speculation, they leave us to just speculate, until they come out with the good reason behind it. I don't know if it's a...
I think there has been a certain fundamental problem with the way they communicate with the public. Because a lot of things, they will allow rumors to spread before the explanation comes. Whereas if people had had the explanation up front, they would probably not have given all the criticisms that they gave. So I've seen some attempt to reorganize the PR outfit to make it a bit more responsive to the needs of the public than it has been hitherto. So I think they are doing something about it, but the communication in the past has not been very, very effective.
One explanation that I heard today was, prior to this seminar, that the EC was going to do the registration before they do the cleanup. And everybody was angry that, no, before they do a cleanup.
Yeah.
And everybody was saying, why don't you do the cleanup before? But they gave an explanation today that because we need to know how many people would go to which centers, because we are moving up to 29,000, polling stations, and therefore, once we put the numbers on there, we know that this is too large, this is too small. I mean, this could have been explained to us.
I think one mistake the EC has also been making is that I attend IPAC meetings. So a lot of the answers that she gave today, these are answers that she has given at IPAC meetings, over and over again. I tend to think that if some of the things discussed at IPAC, IPAC is a meeting, and so many questions are asked from parties, and answers are given, and so on and so forth. It is not everything that comes out. And it goes back to the question of communication between the EC and the public. It is not everything that comes out. But a lot of these issues have been asked at IPAC too. Answers have been given. How come the public is not aware? So it goes back to the problem of communication, and I'm very happy that she is trying to do something about the PR department, so that communication between the EC and the public will improve. But a lot of the answers she gave, she has given them at IPAC. Parties have asked questions, and she has given the same answers. So there's a problem of communication.
Is it a sensitive area that maybe we are playing with fire? Because you see, if there's the reasoning behind it can be right, but if trust, which keeps coming up, if people don't trust that there's been transparency, I mean, that could backfire on everybody.
Oh yes, the EC itself realizes the need for transparency. I mean, in fact, if you look at the strategic plan, transparency is a major value of the EC now, and I think the kind of measures they are introducing is to inject more and more transparency and accountability into the work of the EC. A lot of it is not so well known to the public. For example, let me give you just one example. In the past, the presidential election results were declared in what is known as the strong room of the EC. You and I, we have never been to the strong room.
No.
The strong room is like a lodge, a scenic lodge room. Only a few privileged party people are
allowed to the strong room.
Able to go there. The EC says it is not necessary. We are now going to make it open. So it is not only parties, members of the public can now come and see how presidential election results. Maybe they are thinking of in the International Conference Center, a more open place where you and I call myself VVOP, very ordinary personalities, very ordinary personalities, can go and see how presidential election, this decision has been taken. The public is not aware. So they are trying to become as transparent and as accountable as possible. It's not coming out. it's not coming out.
I hope they do something about the communication. Yes. Again, with this limited registration thing, yes. Could it be prudent to put it all together, or do you just do new entrants and then set another date before any other, the register comes out? Can't we do all in one? Is there any reason why we have to do only the limited one before we do others?
No, the decision as taken at IPAC is that only a limited voters registration will be done. Only a limited voters registration. When the limited voters registration has been completed, 3 months later, the names will be added to the already existing names on the register. And then people can go and verify not only their names, but even the names of deceased members of their families. So I go there, my name is there, but I have become Mrs. Kwesi Jonah. I can complain. But if there are 3, 4, 5 deceased persons in my family...
Oh, let's invite Mrs. Gina Amankwa, who's a deputy commissioner. Oh, Miss Gina Amankwa. Opoku Amankwa, who's a deputy commissioner at the EC, now joining us and said, well, welcome to PM Express. Yebeji Wambante Munsa. First time on the set, and we are very grateful. She's been very, very busy today, and we pleaded and pleaded, and she also agreed to come, so we thank you. But I caught you mid-flow.
The point, again, we are doing only a limited voter registration exercise this year. There's no other registration. After that, some 3 months later, the provisional register will be displayed. And then people can go and check not only their names, but maybe you have 3, 4, 5 people in your family who have passed on. You can point out that, oh, these are members of my family. In my family, for example, my sister died last year, my younger brother died. Their names must be expunged from the register. So the purpose of the exhibition exercise this time around, you do the limited voters registration and you do the exhibition, and you are going to use the exhibition to clean up the register. So these are 2 separate exercises, not 2 registrations.
Madam Gina, I asked Doctor a question when you're not here, but I'll ask it to you again. That when rumors or news comes from the EC, the public is left to speculate, wonder, jaw, guess before the explanation comes. And anytime the explanation comes, it makes absolute perfect sense. So then you wonder, why weren't we told earlier? So you coming from the EC, I don't know, maybe you can explain to us why you leave us to wonder and bang our heads together for so long.
Thank you very much, Nana. It's not that the EC maybe intentionally would want the public to speculate before we come in. But it's an institution that is very focused, and we have our programs. So we usually would not want to chase to explain what people are saying out there, because we have plans. So whenever we get to that stage, then we clarify. And then it's also, we admit that we had challenges with our PR system, our communications section. And it came out clearly when the needs assessment was made. And that's how come we are saying that we are having a strategic plan. And communication is a key issue in there. Yeah, so hopefully, subsequently, maybe we even want to be proactive. Before people come out with the speculations, we would already be out there. Yeah, so that's what I can say for now.
Because Doctor was also just saying that up until today, the logo meant absolutely nothing. But he's now so warmed up to it. And so then the question is like, maybe we were left too long before now we have to drag us back in to fall in love with it. Because if this explanation had come with the logo, we would all fall in love with it.
Yes, because we had planned to launch the strategic plan today, and the rebranding is coming with the strategic plan. So some of us spoke earlier and said, when we launch it, everybody would understand why we chose that logo and what it represents. Yeah, so, but going forward, I think with the communications section that is going to be created, in the strategic plan we have launched today, I think we are going to be more proactive than being reactive. Yeah.
The other thing that was most people were concerned was, how much is it going to cost us? Who's paying? How much is it going to cost us? Who's paying? Is it going to be one of those things where the figure comes and you think, oh, only for this small, this small, I could have, then everybody becomes an artist in Ghana. I could have drawn this for less. I could have drawn this for less. So, are we going to be hit with a nasty surprise?
Oh, I don't think so. Because if you listen to the chairperson, the genesis of the whole thing, came with the UNDP. So the UNDP is making a very much substantial contribution towards it. So if even we are going to support with our budget, I don't think it's going to be anything that would be outrageous. Yeah. The donor partners have really helped in coming this far.
And for education purposes, if you've misplaced your card like I have, when you're going to get a new one, it's 5 Ghana cedis. I'm going to take a quick break here, and then when I come back, we're going to explain, have you got 5 Ghana cedis? Otherwise, you're not going to have a new card. So stay tuned and don't go. Well, thank you very much for staying and welcome back. Branding the EC is our topic today. Know your EC and fall in love with it. And with me on set, I have Dr. Kwesi Jonah and I have Madam Gina Opoku Abankwa telling us what happened today. Those of you who didn't join us in the beginning, the EC had a beautiful forum today explaining their strategy for the next 5 years and the reasoning for their new logo and their new brand. As part of it, what came up today was that if you misplace your ID, like I have, if you see it anywhere, please, let me have it. It will have Kweku Sintimisa on it. It won't say an answer. You see, it won't say an answer to say Kweku Sintimisa. Bring it to me. But then I'll have to have 5 cities. You know, I'm sure the viewers will say, why?
Now, 5 cities is even cheap. I'm sure people will be insulting me out there. But I'm saying that because if you come for a replacement, you know, we are going to print it for you. We reprint. And then we also have to emboss on it replaced, because there are no 2 original documents in the world. Yeah. So replaced is, boldly embossed on it. And then we laminate it for you. And the costs of these, inputs, we are talking about electricity. We are talking about the VMS that is being managed here. And then paper printing, ink, yes, and then the laminate. So the 5 cities, EC is not making anything from the 5 cities. Yeah, so even, yes, and the labor cost, yeah. So even some of us were suggesting that we should rather increase it. Because some people, I'm sure, just fancy losing their cards and coming for replacement. And then also the good of it is that even if you don't have a card, like you've lost yours, you can still go and vote.
That's quite news to me.
Okay, that has always been the case.
And to some people at the police station can say, Nana, what do you need? You need only your fingerprints. Nana, so the machine will tell whether you are actually Nana or not. Once you put your fingerprints there, your fingers in the machine, your picture will pop up. And then the people themselves will know whether indeed you are who you claim to be. So it is nothing new. When she said the people were surprised, but it has always been the situation.
I was surprised.
No.
We get very obsessed about the ID card.
No. With the BVD, the biometric verification device, what verifies you is the machine, and not your card. Not your card.
Prof, there's been a lot of, anxiety going forward to 2016. Is the voter register going to be credible? Are we going to trust it? Let my vote count, marching up and down the road. Can we bridge all this before November?
I think a lot of bridging has already taken place. If you ever attended an IPAC meeting, there is a lot more consensus at IPAC than what you find outside IPAC. All these measures about cleaning the have been discussed at IPAC, and all parties have come to a convergence. Meantime, outside, you hear some party members screaming over the top of the roofs, "We are not going to allow, you want a new register." These matters have been discussed and settled at IPAC. So for me, we were just discussing about the ineffectiveness of the communication of the EC with the public. There's also a certain ineffectiveness of the parties in communicating what has been discussed at IPAC with their followers. And this is what is creating the problem. You see, it's like a brass band procession in the village. When the brass band has changed the tune, the people at the back are still singing the because they don't know they have changed the tune already. The thing has changed at IPAC. But they are still singing.
This is a very apt illustration. It's so apt.
Madam Gina, another thing is for us sitting outside. The NDC seemed to agree with everything that EC would do. The NPP will jump out of bed in the morning and probably ask, what have they done? If they've done anything, we disagree. That's how it comes across. But you were saying that at IPAC, they all seem to come to a consensus. How are we going to solve this issue where opposition thinks that no, EC is wrong. Majority thinks EC is right.
Thank you very much. I think, like uh, Prof just said, at IPAC, a lot of consensus are reached. We have never voted at IPAC. The issues will come, we will discuss. When we get to a H, at best what we say is that, okay, every party should bring its position. And then a committee is set up and then they go through and come with a conclusion. The impression that NDC is always speaking like in favor of EC and what have you, sometimes even we at EC, we are worried. Why? Because it creates an impression that they are speaking or they are in bed with EC or they speak for EC. And I remember at one of our forums, somebody asked me that, since when did NDC become your spokesperson? Yes, but my answer to that was that I'm sure it's because of how the issues are, fed at IPAC, and yet it comes out like we are fighting in there. So I remember at the very last IPAC we attended, all the other political parties were angry with MPP. In fact, all of them, they were saying that the agreements that are reached at IPAC, you are part of it, but you just want to go out there and then create a different impression. Yeah, which was very bad. So I don't know, maybe it's because of the way they see what happens at IPAC, the conclusions reached, and then the opposite being told out there. Maybe that's why they just have to jump in and what have you. Yeah, but it is something that is worrisome to us as EC. Yeah. Yeah.
Nana, you made a very important point that the NDC seems to be the PR department of the EC. As a political scientist, I'm not surprised. It is a kind of phobia that is always seen with the opposition parties. Let the NPP come to power now, and the NDC go to. You will see the NDC behaving in more or less the same way as the NPP did when they were in opposition. If you like, go back to the Kufuor period. They were raising more or less the same concerns about the register. They raised at one time this issue of 2 constituencies in the Ashanti region. The number of voter registers almost doubled. And the EC had to set up a committee. So for me, I do not want to blame the NPP that they are opposing everything, the NDC that they seem to be supporting. It is a phenomenon that we have observed over the years. When you are in power, you speak differently. When you are out of power, you speak differently. And this is not going to change anytime soon. It is going to be like this. If power changes hands, the other party comes to power, because they are in control of the security apparatus and everything, they are sure that the EC cannot do anything that we cannot see. So they seem to be more comfortable with the EC, everything the EC does, than the party in opposition. The same way, if they go into the opposition, when they are no longer in control of the levels of power, then they behave differently. So people should not get too worried about this phenomenon. Anybody who doubts it, go back to look at the 8 years that Kufuor was in power. It's very different.
Let me.
I remember when I joined the commission, in one of our meetings, I was like, Chairman, the Dena Farajan. I said, Chairman, it looks like the NDC is quite okay. They understand the issues. And he said, don't mind them. It's because of where they are now. They have ever behaved this way. That's exactly what Dr. Farajan said. So Doctor is right. Yeah.
I see. Well, to you viewers out there and those, party supporters, really ask your, leaders if the tune has changed in the front so that you can change the tune at the back. But one question also came up as to if we may reach the November 7th deadline. To viewers out there, is it possible that we can meet this deadline?
Seriously, the only thing that can happen, and we won't meet the deadline, may be that Parliament may not sit. And I can't see that happening as I sit here. Yeah, because whatever we have to do as EC and AG, we have done it, and it's a process. So you can't, jump over a certain...
Because you have to pass a law,
exactly.
basically.
Yeah. So what we have done, we have initiated, we've had the initial consultation with the Constitutional and Legal Committee of Parliament, and then it has gone to Attorney General's Department. It went from Attorney General's Department to Cabinet for approval. It has been approved. The first gazette had been made, and 3 months following that, a second gazette would be made. And that second gazette is going to be made in the first week of May, or, second week of May. I've forgotten specifically. So all those processes are done. So what is left is for Parliament to come, and then the bill is introduced in Parliament. And then after first reading, it will be sent to the Council of State. It will come back again to Parliament. And then at that point, we would engage the committee again if there are any concerns and what have you. And then Parliament approves it, and it becomes law.
How soon do you need it so you can print your papers and do your adverts and do your campaign?
I don't know. I can't tell how soon we need it. We need it before we take nominations. Yeah, because the nominations is a period before the poll. Yeah, so for instance, we need it. So now, all that we need is to count the, period.
So counting from November backwards.
For us now, we know it will mature maybe by September, October. It would mature, which means that then 7th November can be taken as the date. So as we sit here, we have done all our processes to have the poll on the 7th of November, because we know that we would get the number of days. That's why I'm saying that the only thing that can mar this arrangement is whether it's possible that Parliament may not sit, or may not sit for the required number of days that we will need.
So we're looking about a 1 month window or 2 months window to get the law passed so that you can announce the date, get nominations, get campaign going?
That's why I'm saying that it's only a process that is being followed. So once we know that Parliament is going to sit, it's going to be introduced, Council of State will look at it, come back, and blah, blah, blah. Because we knew that in all a matter of 6 months, and we started in March. Yeah, so we are very sure. That's why I'm saying that, as we said, we have fixed date for nomination and everything, because we know that it's going to get to that time.
What if Afenyomakin jumps to court again, like they did the local elections?
Unless something like that happens. But with the dates, I doubt if there's going to be any legal what have you. I don't know, but
Is it a day or a date? It's first Monday of November, not 7th. The election is on the first Monday of every November election year. It's not a day. People think it is 7th November. No, it is the first Monday of November election year.
So even if it lands on the first, that's it?
No, it can be first, can be second, can be third.
I see. Well, everybody, I was under the assumption that every 7th November...
maybe it's because this
the first one is landing on the 7th.
It's going to be 7th November.
So, guys, be informed.
It may be another date. It may not be 7th
first
November.
Monday
of November in an election year.
Okay. I was just worried about the technicalities of this one.
Okay.
That fingers crossed, if all things are fine,
everything will go.
But if somebody says, I don't agree, and
that one we don't have control over.
So that, what are the what will be the what's the plan B, if I may ask?
Should anything happen untoward, then we will get back to 7th December, because as for 7th December, it's there, it is safe, it's yeah. So until anything untoward happens, then we will still have that as a backup. We wouldn't have to change any law to do it on the 7th of December.
Now, let's go back a little bit and talk about this, the local elections that went bad. It looked as if, there were legal advice, parliamentary advice that EC hold on, but the EC sort of bulldozed its way and then went to the end until said, no, you can't hold it, money had been spent. That's how, coming from afar, that's how we saw the EC. We are bulldozing away.
No.
No.
Okay. No, it's rather unfortunate that there's that impression out there. In fact, with that process, the only, I would say the only place that we erred, easy erred, was not attaching the importance that letter from the lawyer deserved. That was it. But even that one, it was because of the processes in our office. We received the letter all right, but by the time the letter got to some of us who could have acted on it, it was way ahead of time. I mean, out of place. Yeah, that's how come it happened that way. Yeah. If he even knew any of us phone number and could have even called, we could have maybe engaged him in a discussion, and then, yeah. So it's not like, unfortunately, that's the impression people have of EC. That maybe because of Article 42, EC feels it has all the powers, all the independence, and therefore would not listen to anybody. No, 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 no. It's never like that. It's never like that.
Well, hopefully the new PR team would break that barrier, because for now,
I mean, we should be proactive so that the things, before it even becomes a rumor, it will already be on our website, on our other social media networks, because now we are not only going to engage on people on the website, social media, blah, blah, blah. That's what we want to do, so that there's always a platform for people to come and engage with us.
we're going to take a quick break here, and then when we come back, we just want to find out, is there ever going to be a day when, elections, there won't even be a holiday? You just be driving to Best Western, stop, cast your vote, and come and carry on your business. Don't move. Thank you very much. Branding the EC. And that's what we are talking about, you falling in love and knowing your responsibility towards elections in the country. And just before the break, I just wanted to find out if there's ever going to be a day when elections, you don't have a holiday. You just be driving to work, stop, cast your vote. If you're going to the supermarket, you stop and you just cast your vote, because it's not life or death. It's your constitutional mandate. There are so many things which are constitutional mandate that we do every day without having to take a holiday. Do you think we can be educated to that level, Gina?
I think so. Even now, we don't have election days as holidays. Yeah, it's not a holiday. People are asking that it should be made a holiday, but it's not a holiday. Yeah. So even now, people go cast their vote and then go back to work and whatever. But I know that with more education, I mean, more sensitization, consistently, people would have to understand that it's not a do or die affair. And therefore, we need to take our time and, I mean, do it. But because now, like you said, a lot of rumors, speculations, and what have you. So the environment is always charged towards elections. 2016, nobody knows what's going to happen. And people create an impression of the way they go about things. It creates an impression that it's a do or die for the two political parties, which is not to be. Yeah. So I think we will get there, but it should be gradual.
Why are we so fixated on the chairman of the EC, and then all the rest of you just go scot-free? Meanwhile, all the 7 of you will sit down, come back to a decision. She comes or he comes to announce it, and that's it. We fry him, grill him, whatever, and then the rest, we seem not to be bothered about the rest of you at all.
Well, I don't know, but maybe it's because she's the first among equals, and the buck stops with her. Yeah. So maybe that's why people would choose to. And she is the face of EC. If we are in a program and she is there, it is she who should speak. Yes. So maybe that is why, I'm sure a lot of people don't even know some of us until recently. Yeah. And especially for the other 4 commissioners. We have 7. 3 are purely administrative commissioners. We are full-timers. And then the other 4 are part-timers who come and join us. And for them, a lot of people don't know them. But the 3 of us, she is the key.
So that's Pauline, yourself?
No, myself and Alaji Sule, and then Charlotte. We are the executive, every day. We take it like our full-time job. We are not supposed to do any other work, apart from the work of EC. But the part-timers, Pauline, for instance, works with the Cocoa Board, and then she comes here. So that is it. So I think because she's the first among equals, the backstop with her, and therefore, as chairman.
Let me ask, Doc, I want the same question. I mean,
Now, the same question, there is a historical answer to the question. We have a collective commission. The Ghana Commission is a collective commission, 7-member commission. Many countries don't have that. They have a sole commissioner. Historically, Ghana used to have a sole commissioner, Kingsley Nyina. And this is what Ghanaians are used to. So even if you have moved from a sole commissioner to a collective commission, they still have Kingsley Nyina, Justice Aban in mind. But even today, many countries have sole commissioners. You know, we have decided under the Fourth Republic to adopt the collective commission. So people have the historical idea of Justice Aban, not a commissioner. Kingsley Nyina, not a commissioner. So today, even if you have a collective commission, they still call the chair the electoral commissioner. And that is why somebody asked the question. Now that we have a female commissioner, she's only one out of how many females on the commission?
I see. Now, the issue of political parties came up, and 25 was the number, I think.
The latest to APC.
Yeah, 25. I mean, if we apply the rules properly, how many will be left?
About 3 or 4.
Are you in agree that we should apply the rules?
I don't, and I have a position. But now that you ask, I'll tell you. If you compare Ghana with any of our West African neighbors, the 25 parties that we have is probably the smallest. Togo has over 28 parties. Mali has 65 parties. The Francophone countries have, almost every family is a party. Your wife and children come from a party. 68 parties. We have the smallest number of parties among our neighbors. That's not the point. It doesn't mean that we should also have, the point is that every democracy will have its big parties and its small parties. And together, the big parties and the small parties enrich democracy. It is true that we have made certain rules, like every political party should be organized in 2/3 of the districts in every region. You should be, first of all, be present in all regions, and you should have offices in 2/3. Nana, when we made that rule, we had only 200 constituencies and 110 districts. Today, how many districts do you have? 216 districts. It means any time the number of districts goes up, the required number of offices you need to operate is also going up. This is a very, very unrealistic demand.
Well, but if you want to govern the whole country.
I know the source of this law. The source of this law is a law that Kwame Nkrumah passed called the Avoidance of Discrimination Act in 1957. Kwame Nkrumah realized that NLM was a party based in Ashanti. Togoland Congress was a party based in the Volta region. And the NPP, the Northern People's Party, was a party, and he didn't want it. So he passed the Avoidance of Discrimination Act, banning every party that was based on one region or one ethnic group. This is the source of this party, of this law. We also want to make sure that parties are not based on any particular region. That is why we say we want you to establish in all regions. But the demand is too unrealistic. Not all parties have the financial capacity to be able to establish in 2/3 of the districts in every region. So to begin with, we are making a very, very unrealistic demand of them. But more importantly, and I don't want to confront the EC because they're my friends openly. If you check the political parties law,
Gina is okay for confrontation. She's okay.
If you check the Constitution and the political parties law, this is a registration requirement, meaning that it's a registration requirement. The EC should not register you if you don't have those offices. You have registered me, meaning I have those offices. How can you go back? Yes, it's a registration requirement. So if do not satisfy that requirement, you don't register me. You have registered me, meaning that I have satisfied the requirement already. Now you are saying that I have gone to check again, you don't satisfy. If I didn't satisfy, you should not have registered me. Ayariga has satisfied the requirement. That's it. He has met the requirement, he's registered. You can't use it against him again. So my fear is that if the EC goes ahead to implement this law this election year, what it will have is a lot of litigation on its hands. Many small parties will be going to court arguing that this is a registration requirement. I satisfied this requirement before you registered me. It is not an operational requirement. So the EC are my friends. I have a long memo that I want to send to them on this matter. But I think that as a nation, we should look at the matter in an election year. We don't want to be going to court, out of court, going to court, out of court. So we need to exercise some caution. There are so many parties that since registration have never contested any election. Those parties have no reason to exist. A party registered in 1992 never contested a single election. That party, if you scrap that party, nobody will complain. But if a party is small, every election it is making the effort to contest, at least at the parliamentary level. Some of them at the presidential level. And because they don't have offices in 2/3 of the districts in every region, you want to, that is a completely different matter. I would advise the EC to exercise.
Cautious. Let me get Gina's take on this one. Shouldn't we cut it down to 4, where there's, this is the only 4, the whole political parties, we rally behind them?
No. I don't think that would be democratic enough. Yeah, like Prof said, we need some of these smaller parties as well. Yeah, but the EC is only worried because the way they flout the laws, the political party law. Yeah, that's why EC is saying that subsequently it's going to apply the law. Yeah, so we are in consultation with our legal people, and then there's a committee working on that, and we will come out boldly on that. But like Prof said, if we are going to implement that in the election year, the probability of people taking it to court and what have you. So we are still consulting.
But there's this audited account.
For instance, the audited account.
Yeah.
That one is clear. If you don't submit, you are supposed to, you are required by the law to do that. And in Ghana, it's one party that has been consistent with that is the PPP. Very consistently. Yeah, they do that. Yeah. And so, I mean, now maybe that's where we would actually look at.
Going to 2016, they will leave the PPP going forward because everybody else would have been struck off the list.
At one of the IPAC meetings, Senior Ward Brew, he said, you don't fund us, so why do you want to know how we spend our money? Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's still important for us to do that. Yeah, so that at least people should comply with it.
But we are told they come up with audited reports like this year we spent 1,000 cities, we spent 2,000 cities, some unrealistic figures. I mean, so are you able to challenge that?
No, we will look at it. You see, previously it's just been, okay, I brought it. But now we may want to scrutinize, yeah, to find out maybe a lot of things, yeah, in there.
Political parties, and their relation with EC, how are we going to get it right?
Presently, it's not right. Nana educates me on that. Is it not right?
I mean, somebody Charlotte said no cry, no why you say no, and all these.
It's unfortunate, and you see, like Prof said, when you come to IPAC, and the way we deliberate over issues and reach consensus and what have you, you wonder how because we've related to them that some of them have even now become friends because we see ourselves almost all the time. We work on committees together with them, and so it's quite unfortunate. And you can't believe, or it may interest you to know, that in the last 2 weeks, people are writing us to scrap the IPAC because they don't see the need. If we would go into a meeting, or if the aim of IPAC is to have a body that would regulate our relationship. And yet, there's that kind of acrimony between political parties and EC, then they don't see the need. So IPAC should be scrubbed off. That's the suggestion some of the people are calling. Yeah.
The other thing is when the EC constituted VC RAC CRABS panel, the panel made recommendations. The public is under the view that the EC is not, adhering or even trying to do what the recommendation says. And so from one program to the other, you always hear people lamenting that they said the registrar was unfit for purpose and therefore it should be cleaned up, yet the EC is not doing anything. So what's happening?
So, you see, that's what some of us really wonder. Because, for instance, the validation, what have you, was never part of the recommendations of the panel. You get what I'm saying? The panel never recommended that if after the exhibition, somebody does not show up, you should delete the name. It's not anyway. Rather, they even made a suggestion that we should use the exhibition, but we should extend the period of exhibition so that, and then we should also make it publicized so that people may take the opportunity, of coming on board to check their names. So when people say that the panel's recommendation had not been used and what have you, I don't understand. And in any way, EC is not obliged to abide by those recommendations. Exactly, it's a committee. So the recommendations are not even binding. But in this case, I don't see any of the recommendations that we are not working with. The only thing is that we are saying that, okay, we will do the cleanup or the exhibition, but then there's a limited registration coming on board. So we will do that limited registration. Then after generating the provisional register from this limited registration, then together with the current register, we would exhibit the two. I hope, yeah. So that is what I would say is delaying the course. Yeah. So we don't know how the Supreme Court is going to rule on it. But whatever comes out of the Supreme Court is what we would be abided with. But should it come out from the Supreme Court that, okay, they may be okay the process that we are, then immediately after, sometime after the limited registration, when we are able to generate the provisional register, then we would have to exhibit the two registers and then certify the two. Even though this one is a certified register, but because we will exhibit it and maybe objections will come, deceased people's persons' names will be removed and what have you, then we would have that one for the 2016 elections. So definitely there's going to be a credible register for 2016 elections.
That's what I was looking. The word I was looking for. The credible, yeah, credible. Yeah. But is it credible that it's going to be communicated so we trust it? Because that's where the issue has been. That we, the voters don't trust.
You see, why won't the voters trust? And that is why the panel, in their recommendation, was calling on all Ghanaians to actually come on board to help the EC clean the register. Because there's no mechanism, or by way of machine or electronic or what have you, to detect that Nana is a foreigner, and therefore his name should be rejected. Nana is a minor, and therefore his name should be rejected. There's no such machine. Yeah. So until, it requires human effort. So people should really come. People should take it as a duty to help the process generally. So that you come, if, for instance, from 2012, if you know somebody who is always voting, but you really know that the person is not qualified to be on the register, this is an opportunity for you. Come, let's go through the process and have that name expunged. Yeah, so together we can.
Quickly, what would be the process? I come from Edumasan, that's foreign enough. So if Doc came and said, look, get Nanaza, he's from Edumasan, he doesn't qualify to vote. How does the process go?
Okay, yes, that cannot happen. You come and say Nana is not from Edumasan. Nana will be served a hearing notice. That Prof is challenging that you are not from Ghana, and therefore we should delete your name, so that you would also be heard. if you are a Ghanaian, you would have to come and prove. But in any case, he who alleges must prove. So Prof would have to prove why you are not a Ghanaian. And then yours would be to satisfy us that you are a Ghanaian. And then if somebody is dead, now that people can generate posters and what have you from Photoshop and what have you, we need credible evidence. For instance, if somebody comes with a death certificate or burial certificate or no burial permit, and then they also have body collection certificate, why would somebody ordinarily just go and ask for a body collection, what have you, to be given? Yeah. So we would even publish all those names with their addresses and photographs so that people may come and again look at it and object to some of them who others are saying they are dead. And then we have also written to all formal institutions that they should supply us with the names of people who have died in their organizations from March 2012 to April 2016. And we hope that will serve as a guide. And we are using the formal institutions because when you work in a formal institution, there's always a benefit after your death. And such benefits are usually claimed when somebody would bring an LA, or, letters of administration, or a probate. And those documents are genuine documents, so to speak. Yeah, so for now, that is what we have put in place. But we are waiting for what the Supreme Court would say.
Well, thank you so much. All too soon, that's what time will allow us. But I can feel the closeness already. You know, the communication, the door is now open. We can go into the strong room, go into the EC. It's not shrouded in secrecy. The transparency is coming out. We fall in love, trust the voters register, and peace will prevail. But I want to say a big thank you to Gino Pokuwa-Bankwa, and thank you to Dr. Kwesi Jonah for giving us this time of theirs. Thank you very much, you at home. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you very much.